Hey there, folks. It's Rich Feliciano here again, certified broker with David Allen Capital. I wanted to share a quick video with you regarding a question. Um, we're just looking at the worlds of alternative business funding and the world of conventional bank loans, right, for businesses, conventional business loans. All right, so the question here posed is when is 10% more than 25%? Right? When is 10% more than 25%? So we're going to look at this. Okay, ABF, alternative business funding, BL, bank loan, right? Two different worlds. We're just going to do a side by side here real quick. All right, so alternative business funding, you borrow 100,000 at a factor rate of 1.25. Again, the question is when is 10% more than 25%? Okay, alternative business funding, you borrow 100,000 at a factor rate of 1.25. That's 25%. Bank loan, you borrow the same 100,000 at APR of 10%. Okay, that's 10%. And the question is, when is 10% more than 25%? 100,000 at 1.25, 100,000 at 10%. Let's look at it. With the alternative bank, with the alternative business funding, you get an 18-month term payback. Okay, again, payback terms can be anywhere from 9 months to 24 months. Okay, because these are unsecured loans, very risky for the lender, for the funder. Okay, much more risky for them than for the banks, because again, banks, you default, they take your asset. With the alternative in the alternative business funding space, there is no asset, there is no collateral. Okay, so you get a longer term with bank loans, 5-year terms, 60 months versus 18 months. Ooh, really nice. And that is, it's a clear benefit. It really is. However, however, how could that 5-year term work against you? Yes, it's to your benefit because you have a longer period to pay it back, so you have shorter monthly payments. But how can that 5-year term that you consider such a benefit, a plus, how can that work against you? Let's look. All right. Total payback at the end of the eight at the end of at the end of the at the end of the 18-month term. I'm a bit excited. Sorry. At the end of the 18-month term, total payback is 125,000. Right. Borrow a dollar, you pay back $1.25. So you borrow 100,000, you pay back 125,000. With the bank loan, that same 100,000 that you borrow at 10%, 5-year term, total payback is $127,482.27. This I calculated, I did not calculate, I went to bankrate.com, bankrate.com. It's a small business loan calculator. All different kinds of calculators, great resource there, great tools. All right, so total payback on the bank loan on that same 100K at 10% 5-year term, 127,482.27. Now, here's where it gets with in the alternative business funding space, much shorter term for payback. Okay, so your monthly payment is going to be $6,944.44. See that up front, straight, no chaser. Okay, give it to you straight, no chaser. Your monthly payback is going to be $6,944.44. However, why did you borrow 100,000? Because in our alternative funding space, you can borrow up to 2 times your monthly revenue. So if your monthly revenue is say 75,000, you can borrow up to 150,000. If your bank statements, your business bank statements and all that, if they support that decision, okay, you may qualify for only 100,000 or for 75,000 or for 50,000, whatever it may be, don't know. But be that as it may, in the alternative business funding space, if you anyway, I forgot my point, but going back to the monthly pay, so much higher payment. Why? Because you have a much shorter payback term of 18 months. In the bank lending space, your monthly payment is going to be $2,124.70. Okay, big difference there. Monthly savings of $4,000 plus. So it's not going to impact your cash flow as much, right? However, let's look at this now. Because you have a lower monthly payment, you think, oh, great, I'm in this for 60 months, but it's very affordable. But in the end, your total payback is $127,482.27 at the end of the 60 months, whereas in the alternative business funding space, you're going to be paying back just 25%. So you borrow 100, you pay back 25 on top. So your payback total is 125,000. And yes, higher monthly payment because of the term, shorter term, lower monthly payment here in the bank lending space because of a longer term, but in real dollars, you pay back 25%. In real dollars, you pay back 25%. In real dollars, here with the bank, you pay back 27.48%, more than the 25%, even though the published rate is 10%. And here the transparent factor rate is 1.25, 25%. Upfront, transparent, in your face. There's no tricks, no fees, no hidden fees, no nothing. Pretty straightforward. And you can actually really plan your business financials and your growth plans. You can execute. You can do all of that with much more precision and clarity. And you're in and out of debt in a 9-month period in this case, or 18 months, or 24 months versus 60 months, 36 months, whatever the case may be, right? So, wanted to illustrate that and just kind of show the difference there and to show how, yes, 10% can be more than 25%. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Isn't that funny? That's why, again, to compare these two is tricky. It's two different worlds, two different ways of working. Bank loans have their pluses and their minuses. Alternative business funding has its pluses and its minuses. Okay? But now you're informed so that you can make better decisions. That's what it's all about. Why? So that we can inject capital into your business and execute on those growth plans. Execute on those plans to improve your business. That's the bottom line. Small businesses account for half of the American workforce. Half of the labor force is because of small businesses. So without small business, we're dead. So if you can't work with banks, if the banks won't work with you, or if you won't work with the banks, whatever the case may be, give me a call. Email me. Let's talk about it. Let me hear about your business. Let me hear about your needs, your frustrations. Do we have a solution that can fit here? Okay, and we find out simply by applying. It's a same day decision. That way you're informed quickly, immediately, and you can take advantage of opportunities now if there is a time factor involved. Okay, so if there's a time factor involved, you want fast, quick speed and flexibility. Okay, and you can take it and you can put it right into your business and see growth and revenues and profits sooner rather than later. All right, if you can work with the banks, do it. I think it's great. It really is. But if you can't or you won't, hey, give me a call. Let's talk about it. All right. So thanks so much for taking this time with me. As always, it's a pleasure. I love sharing. I love teaching, and I love just seeing human beings doing better. Right? Because we're all one. It's all about the unity. It's all about the oneness, man. And I'm real with that. And it's really time that we start acting that way in all facets of life. Right? Especially in business. No more win-lose, win-lose. It's got to be win-win, right? We got to do this for the good and the blessing of all. That's the bottom line. So if you see something here that makes sense or that you might have more questions about, reach out. Give me a call, email me, visit my site. Everything will be in the description in terms of how you can contact me. You can reach out to me on Facebook too. I'm starting to increase my social media presence. Again, I'm not looking for general audiences. I just want to talk to you, the small business owner, the backbone of the American economy. All right. Many blessings to you. Thank you again as always, and we'll talk soon.